Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are focusing our energy on Central America. Specifically, we're aiming for a destination that seems to be sitting right on the precipice. A country offering, world-class adventure at these astonishing prices.
Right?
Yet it's one that still requires a really informed approach because of its complex history.
We are, of course, diving deep into Nicaragua. It's the largest country in the Central American Isthmus.
Yeah.
And it's often beautifully described as the land of lakes, volcanoes, poetry, and revolution. It's a place that asks a lot of the traveler, but, it promises an enormous reward.
That dual identity is exactly what we need to unpack today. Nicaragua sits right next to destinations that have been, let's say, polished for mass tourism for a long time.
For sure.
But this country feels profoundly authentic, raw, and just full of this resilient spirit.
It does.
Our mission today is to analyze if this underrated gem is truly worth the journey for, say, the budget-conscious adventurer and the culture seeker right now.
And more importantly, how to navigate its unique challenges. That tension, that Nicaraguan paradox is key.
That paradox, yeah.
It offers this unparalleled natural beauty, extreme, accessible adventure, and an affordability that is, frankly, off the charts.
Right.
Yet its history has been turbulent. So we're looking beyond the generic travel guides. We need to acknowledge the political past and the present complexity while delivering the practical, on-the-ground reality for you if you're planning to visit.
Exactly. The goal is to give you, the learner, the context you need to travel responsibly and efficiently. We have to go past the headlines and get into the actual traveler experience. Because the potential experiences are truly astounding. We're going to guide you through everything from the cost-benefit analysis of their amazing rum to the logistics of just getting into the country and, yes,
I know where you're going with this.
even to the act of sliding down an active volcano on what is essentially a glorified piece of wood.
That volcano boarding experience is definitely the ultimate teaser.
It is.
But you can't board a volcano until you've successfully landed and navigated the entry requirements. So let's start there with the essential practicalities.
Okay, let's do it. We're talking logistics and entry, the often overlooked first hurdle. Where are we landing and what do we need to know immediately?
All right, so the main point of entry by air is the Augusto C. Sandino International Airport. We'll just call it MGA.
MGA, okay.
It's located just outside the capital city, Managua. And MGA is, it's relatively well connected, especially if you're coming from North America.
Right, so direct flights from places like Miami or Houston are pretty common.
Exactly. If you're coming from Europe, though, you're almost certainly looking at a layover. Probably in a U.S. city like Atlanta, or maybe through a regional hub like Panama City.
So that's something you definitely have to factor into your overall travel time and your budget.
For sure. Now, here's a critical piece of operational advice. Managua is almost universally considered a transit point. It's a springboard, not the destination itself.
Okay, so why is that?
Well, the city is geographically really sprawling, and that's largely due to a devastating earthquake in its history, and it just lacks that centralized, walkable, appealing colonial core that travelers are usually looking for.
Right, so you want to maximize your time by minimizing your time in Managua.
Precisely. Most experienced travelers organize their transport, whether it's a private shuttle, a shared minivan, or even a public bus, to move on almost immediately after landing.
And your main choices are what?
Your choices are typically the beautiful colonial city of Granada, which is only about an hour and a half away,
Right.
or the revolutionary heart of Leon, which is about 2 hours to the northwest.
Got it. But air travel isn't the only way in. A lot of people are doing that whole Central America loop.
Right. And for them, the Peñas Blancas border crossing from Costa Rica is incredibly popular. And that's where many travelers get their first taste of what we like to lovingly call organized chaos.
That phrase is very apt. And preparation is definitely key to surviving it. What specifically makes Peñas Blancas so challenging?
Well, it's a multi-stage process, and just the sheer volume of both travelers and commercial goods contributes to this feeling of pandemonium.
Right.
You'll first exit Costa Rica, which is generally pretty efficient. Then you enter the Nicaraguan side, which is where the famous bureaucracy and intensity really begin.
And you'll be swarmed by money changers.
Instantly.
And while their rates can be surprisingly competitive, you need to be very, very cautious.
Oh, yeah. They're often operating small scams, maybe confusing travelers with large denominations or shortchanging them amidst all the noise.
So our advice here is what? Know the official exchange rate precisely before you even approach them.
Yes. And only change a small amount. just enough to cover your immediate bus fare or taxi.
Good tip.
And this brings us to the crucial financial requirement for entry. For many nationalities, US, UK, EU, Canadian, you don't need a traditional visa for stays up to 90 days.
But there is one absolute non-negotiable cost.
The $10 tourist card.
The $10 tourist card. You
Yeah.
have to have it.
Correct. This has to be purchased on arrival. It's a mandatory fee, and this is where preparation is absolutely paramount.
You mean cash?
You must have cash. Specifically, small, clean U.S. bills. 10s or 20s are best.
Do not assume you can pay with a big bill.
Never. And absolutely do not rely on a credit card machine at a land border, especially one as busy as Peñas Blancas. It's just not going to happen.
And then you're filling out the immigration forms, which are quite thorough, and you have to be prepared with two key pieces of information.
The address of your first night's accommodation and solid proof of onward travel.
That onward travel one trips a lot of people up.
It does. It's a requirement related to something called the CA4 visa agreement between Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala. They just want assurance that you won't overstay that regional limit.
So having a printout or even just a digital confirmation of a flight or a bus ticket leaving the country, even if it's months down the road.
It's non-negotiable for a smooth process. Being prepared here means the difference between a 30-minute wait and a 3-hour interrogation.
Okay, so cash in hand, papers ready, onward travel confirmed, you've navigated the initial entry.
And now the fun begins.
Choosing your adventure base.
And this is where Nicaragua's affordability really shines and sets it apart from its high-cost neighbors. Accommodation is a major selling point.
I've heard the value's incredible.
That exceptional value means you can find a quality dorm bed for like $5 or $8.
Wow.
Or you can upgrade to a spectacular boutique eco lodge for maybe $80 to $100.
That value proposition sounds almost too good to be true, especially when you compare it to, say, Costa Rica. What's the subtle trade-off? Are we sacrificing infrastructure reliability at that price?
That's a fair and analytical question. The trade-off is often in reliability, especially in more remote areas like Ometepe, which we'll get into.
Okay.
However, in the main colonial centers, the value is just genuine. They've leveraged this existing stunning colonial architecture and lower labor costs to provide these really high-end aesthetic experiences without the high price tag. Let's look at the 4 distinct environments.
Let's start with Granada. It's the standard starter city for a reason.
It is.
It's defined by its colorful, neoclassical colonial architecture. The moment you step onto those cobblestone streets, you just feel the history.
And the characteristic accommodation there leverages that history. You find these beautifully restored colonial houses that have been transformed into guest houses or hotels.
And they have these thick walls, right? High ceilings.
Exactly. Thick, often Moorish-influenced walls and high ceilings,
Wow.
all designed to keep the interior cool in that intense tropical heat.
And the central courtyard. That is absolutely crucial.
Oh, it's essential.
It's not just for looks. After a long day of walking dusty streets and baking under the Central American sun, retreating into that shaded oasis, often with a pool.
It's essential for physical recovery and honestly for mental decompression. It's your little sanctuary.
So for travelers looking for mid-range comfort, that also aligns with, like, conscious spending. What's a good example?
Sources consistently highlight a place called Hotel Con Corazon. It's a stunning example of colonial restoration, but its entire operating model is based on giving back.
Oh, interesting.
They're a nonprofit, so they invest their revenue directly into education and community development initiatives in the region. It's a rare and commendable model.
I love that. Okay, and on the more social side, if you're a backpacker looking to connect.
The De Boca in Boca hostel has become legendary. It's less about a quiet retreat and more about being a highly social hub.
So it's a perfect place to organize group transport or find travel companions for the next leg of your journey.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about the transition from that colonial elegance to Ometepe, which is jarring in the best way.
This is prehistoric immersion.
It really is. We are talking about a massive island in Lake Nicaragua, formed entirely by 2 volcanic cones, Concepcion and Maderas, just rising dramatically from the water. It is a genuine geographical marvel.
And the accommodation here reflects that environment. It's rustic, nature-focused, and deeply immersive. We're talking about fincas.
Right, which are basically farm stays or working cooperatives. They integrate you right into the agricultural life of the island.
Finca Magdalena is the prime example, isn't it?
It is a long-standing working coffee cooperative. But when you choose an environment this rustic, you have to adjust your expectations for infrastructure.
This is where that trade-off comes in.
Exactly. Wi-Fi will be spotty, the power might flicker, and you're truly reliant on the natural systems, but that's the whole point of the immersion.
And the nature hook, which bears repeating, is incredible. The howler monkeys.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Waking up to their calls is unforgettable. They don't just make noise. They have this deep, guttural, resonating bark that sounds legitimately like a dinosaur echoing through the mist.
It really does. It reminds you that this place is properly wild and untamed.
And getting around Ometepe.
It often involves renting scooters, which adds another element of adventure navigating those often potholed roads between the two volcanoes. Or you rely on shared taxis that run the main route.
Okay, shifting dramatically again, let's head to the Pacific coast, to San Juan del Sur. This is the kinetic hub, famous for its surf breaks and often dubbed the country's party capital.
For sure. The accommodations here cater directly to that high energy. The style is primarily surf hostels, focused on group activities, day trips to the beaches, and really strong social interaction.
Places like Pachamama.
Exactly. They are synonymous with this lively communal lifestyle.
However, the beauty of the Pacific coast is that you can choose your flavor. If the intensity of the main town is too much, the adjacent beaches, particularly Playa Maderas and Playa Marcela, offer a fantastic counterpoint.
That's a great point. You can find these high-quality boutique hotels and dedicated yoga retreats just nestled in the coves there.
So they provide the perfect balance. You have access to the world-class surfing and the main town amenities via a short shuttle.
But you also have the tranquility and peace you need for proper relaxation.
Finally, we have Leon. This city is grittier, more intense, pulsing with a younger university town energy. It is the revolutionary and intellectual heart of Nicaragua.
It is, and Leon's accommodation reflects its function. It's the base camp for high adventure. The hostels there, like Bigfoot, aren't just places to sleep.
They're logistical hubs.
They're logistical hubs that organize the specific activity that Leon is most famous for.
The vibe of the city also just encourages this active engagement with history. The architecture is a bit more severe than Granada's, and you are constantly surrounded by the visual evidence of the nation's political journey.
The murals, the museums, the revolutionary placards, it's a highly engaging, high-energy place to drop your bags.
Okay, so once you've settled in, you need fuel. And Nicaraguan cuisine is a true highlight of that affordability proposition we talked about. It's built on satisfying, simple comfort food.
Culinary comfort, yeah. We are talking hearty, flavorful, and incredibly accessible. Unlike some of its neighbors, you are not looking at intensely spicy food.
Right. It's more about meals built on fresh ingredients that provide sustained energy for an active day.
And there is no discussion of Nicaraguan food that doesn't start with gallo pinto. It is the absolute national staple.
The name literally means painted rooster.
It does, and it sounds simple. A mix of rice and red beans. But the critical difference here, compared to just mixing rice and beans, is the preparation.
It's often fried in oil with diced onions, garlic, and sometimes sweet peppers.
And that gives it a depth of flavor that is miles beyond just boiled grains. It serves multiple functions.
The foundation of breakfast, right? Served with fried or scrambled eggs, fresh cheese, maybe some plantains.
But it also acts as the essential side for lunch and dinner. It truly is the carbohydrate fuel of the entire nation, offering immense nutritional value for very little cost.
Okay, so when you're in the colonial cities, especially Granada, you have to seek out a street food specialty called vigorón. This is an absolute must-try.
Yes. You'll find women selling it out of these large woven wicker baskets in the central parks.
And the composition is just brilliant in its textural contrast. The base is boiled yucca soft, starchy and filling.
And this is then piled high with chicharrones, which are these perfectly crispy fried pork rinds.
And the crowning element, the one that makes the whole dish work, is the curtido.
That tangy, acidic cabbage slaw, it just cuts through the richness of the yucca and the pork rinds. You get soft, crunchy, rich, and sour all in one bite. It's perfect.
And the price point.
As we said, off the charts. A filling serving of vigorón will typically cost you about $2 or $3. It's the perfect snapshot of local cuisine.
Okay, moving to something much more substantial, often reserved for weekend breakfasts or special occasions, the nacatamal.
This is Nicaragua's version of the tamale, but it is enormous. It's a proper full meal in a package.
It's a testament to the fact that Nicaraguan cooking really values generosity and heartiness.
Oh, absolutely. The preparation is meticulous. It starts with a base of corn-based dough or masa. This is filled with a rich combination that often includes marinated pork, rice, slices of potato, and herbs, all seasoned perfectly.
And the whole thing is then painstakingly wrapped in a plantain leaf and steamed for hours until it's ready.
It's labor-intensive, which is why it's not an everyday dish, but it is so worth seeking out.
Okay, let's talk drinks. Hydration and celebration are equally important.
Yes, they are. The two main beers are Tonya and Victoria Classica.
And they are light, refreshing lagers. Exactly what you need in that tropical heat. Perfect for crushing your thirst after a morning of surfing or an afternoon of hiking.
And yes, every traveler quickly develops an intense loyalty to one brand or the other. It's a whole thing.
But the real star of the liquid landscape is the rum.
Flor de Caña. This rum is celebrated globally, winning multiple international awards, and Nicaragua is fiercely proud of it.
We've stressed value a lot, and Flor de Caña really embodies it. You can get a generous pour of the 7 or 12-year-old aged rum in a local bar for the same price you might pay for a well-drink back home.
It's truly superb value for a world-class spirit, and this is where we need to inject a bit of technical depth. Why is Flor de Caña so smooth? It's often attributed to the unique terroir. The sugarcane is grown in these fertile plains surrounding the San Cristobal volcano.
Ah, so the water is mineral-rich and volcano-filtered.
Exactly. And the rums are aged in barrels exposed to high temperatures and a unique microclimate. That slow aging process imparts a smoothness that really justifies its global reputation. It elevates the discussion beyond just, it's cheap and tasty.
Right. And of course, the simple national cocktail,
Yeah.
the Nica Libre.
Flor de Caña mixed with Coke and a generous wedge of lime. It is the perfect tropical standard.
So the accessibility of dining, whether it's a $2 Vigorone or a local Commodore offering a massive Plateau del Dia.
The dish of the day, yeah, often a plate just overflowing with meat, rice, beans, and salad for $3 or $4.
It means you can maintain an incredibly low daily budget without ever sacrificing satisfaction.
Absolutely.
So, with our bellies full of Gallo Pinto and maybe a Nica Libre, it's time to move on to the sheer variety of activities this country offers. This blend of extreme adrenaline and historical serenity is what truly distinguishes Nicaragua.
It really is. Few destinations offer this quality of adventure for this price. Let's start with the one activity that is totally, uniquely Nicaraguan.
We have to talk about volcano boarding down Cerro Negro. This is near Leon, and it's the defining extreme sport of the region.
Cerro Negro is a young, active volcano. It's black, jagged, and covered in this fine black gravel and ash. It looks apocalyptic.
I've seen pictures. It's wild.
The experience is meticulously run, usually starting with a bumpy 4x4 truck ride out to the base.
And then comes the necessary physical effort. It's a
Right.
demanding 45-minute hike up the ridge.
Right. And crucially, you are carrying your own equipment. A reinforced wooden board, sometimes with a metal base, that you will use to slide down.
The view from the top has to be the immediate reward.
It is. You're standing on the rim of an active vent, looking down into the crater and seeing this vast chain of Nicaraguan volcanoes stretching into the distance. It is breathtaking.
And the descent is where the adrenaline just hits.
Big time. You sit down on the board holding a simple rope handle, and you're clad in this bright orange jumpsuit and goggles to protect you from the shrapnel-like volcanic sand.
And then you just push off.
You push off. If you stand or lean too far back, you slow down. If you let go and lean forward, you can reach incredible speeds. I mean, the record is over 90 kilometers per hour.
Wow.
It is an exhilarating, dusty, messy rush. But the beauty of it is that the landing zone is essentially soft, volcanic sand.
So the soft landing.
It's a soft landing, albeit one that leaves you covered head to toe in black dust. It's a bucket list activity that truly embodies the country's raw, adventurous spirit.
Okay, now let's transition from that raw adrenaline to the more reflective experiences found in the East, starting with Granada.
Granada itself is a living museum, but the natural complement to the city is Las Isletas. This is an archipelago of over 300 tiny, lush islands clustered in Lake Nicaragua, just off the shore.
And the islands were formed thousands of years ago during a massive prehistoric eruption of the Mombacho volcano.
That's right, and now they're just these tiny jewels of nature and human habitation.
So while you can take a motorized boat tour, the more immersive experience, and the one we'd recommend for the active traveler, is renting a kayak.
Absolutely. Paddling allows you to move silently through the channels, observing the wildlife and the human life up close.
You paddle past everything from lavish, sometimes celebrity-owned private estates to small, simple fishing huts.
And you'll inevitably encounter these little island patches populated by capuchin monkeys. It's an incredibly serene and unique way to spend half a day. A complete contrast to the dust and speed of Cerro Negro.
Okay, back to the island of Ometepe. The activities here are centered on physical endurance and deep natural beauty.
The main challenge is hiking the two volcanoes, Concepcion or Madeiras.
We need to be clear about this. This is not a casual day walk.
No. Hiking either volcano is a grueling full-day commitment, and you absolutely must hire a local guide, both for safety and for navigating the often confusing, dense jungle trails.
And they're geologically distinct, right?
Very. Concepcion is the active, steeper volcano, often characterized by barren, rocky trails toward the summit because of its recent activity.
Right.
Madeiras, however, is dormant. Its trek takes you through a dense, lush cloud forest, often muddy, leading to a stunning crater lake at the peak.
So Madeiras is slightly shorter, but often muddier. Concepcion is steeper and more exposed. You have to choose your challenge carefully.
You do. But for those who complete the grueling 8 to 10 hour trek, or for those who just want a deep reward without all the pain, Ometepe offers the Ojo de Agua.
The name means eye of water.
It's a natural spring pool fed by water filtered through the porous, mineral-rich volcanic rock. The water is crystal clear and consistently cool.
After hiking in that humidity, it is legitimately the most refreshing, soothing swim you can imagine. It's the perfect natural antidote to muscle strain and heat.
It really is.
Finally, let's revisit the Pacific Coast for the world-class surf culture. Nicaragua's Pacific coastline is lined with incredible breaks.
It is. San Juan del Sur is the operational hub, but the real action happens on the surrounding beaches, connected by these frequent chicken bus shuttles.
And this region benefits from incredibly consistent offshore breezes.
Which creates these clean, perfectly formed waves. A spot like Playa Madeiras is specifically noted for being versatile.
Right. The waves break consistently, offering accessible spots for complete beginners who are taking their first lesson.
While also providing enough challenging peaks for intermediate surfers.
And here's that value point again.
You can secure a full-day lesson and board rental for around $25. In other world-class surf destinations, that would barely cover an hour of rental time.
So the combination of quality, consistency, and low cost just makes this an unparalleled destination for budget surfers.
Without a doubt.
Okay, we've established that Nicaragua is an absolute yes for the adventurous learner. But to maximize your time and budget, we need to talk about optimization. Which expectations should you manage, and what should you deliberately skip?
Right. Maximizing time in this environment is all about intelligent resource allocation, knowing what to prioritize and what to treat simply as transit.
My number one piece of advice is to skip extended time in Managua. We touched on this earlier, but let's justify it fully.
The issue is structural. Managua has a significant historical footprint, Revolution Square, the ruined old cathedral, the National Talus.
But because of that devastating 1972 earthquake, much of the city center was destroyed and just never effectively rebuilt into a cohesive, centralized core.
Right. As a result, the city is vast and spread out. Historical sites are distant from one another, and public transport is challenging for a first-time visitor.
You spend more time and money just navigating the city than you would enjoying a walkable hub like Granada or Leon.
So the recommendation is, use Managua purely for its airport access. If you have a layover, consider booking a quick shuttle straight to a more appealing hub and start your trip there.
My caution relates to the legendary cultural phenomenon, the Sunday Funday pool crawl in San Juan del Sur.
Yes. It is genuinely legendary for a specific reason.
What makes that?
It is an intense, organized day of maximal socializing and partying. If your primary goal is maximal nonstop partying, it delivers exactly what it promises.
But for the traveler who's seeking that chill surf vibe, or the quiet nature retreat, or deep cultural immersion, you have to be cautious.
It's the polar opposite of Nika time. It's extremely crowded, highly commercialized, and relatively expensive for Nicaragua.
We're talking upwards of $30 just for the initial entrance fee, right? And that's excluding drinks.
Exactly. That kind of money could feed you for a week at local Commodores.
So it's important to set the expectation. If you're looking for balance, peace, or true affordability, give Sunday Funday a pass.
But if you're looking to dance with hundreds of other international travelers for 12 straight hours, book your ticket now.
Okay, we briefly mentioned the Corn Islands, Big Corn and Little Corn. But they represent such a unique cultural and logistical challenge that we need to give them a critical segment here, since they're often an impromptu temptation.
They are. The Corn Islands are Nicaragua's Caribbean side. Culturally, they are totally distinct. The dominant language is English or Creole, the food is Caribbean, and the pace of life is even slower.
And they offer some of the most beautiful, pristine beaches and diving in the whole region.
They do. But the logistics are brutal for the time-constrained traveler. They are far away.
You have two options for travel, neither of which is fast or easy.
Option 1. The tiny, usually propeller-driven domestic plane from Managua to Bighorn Island. This is the fastest, but also the most expensive option. It can consume a huge chunk of a traveler's budget.
And option 2.
A grueling 18-hour-plus journey involving buses, several connecting shuttles, and a ferry that can be notoriously rough.
So the takeaway here is not to skip them entirely, but to realize that the Corn Islands require a minimum of 5 days to be worth the logistical and financial investment.
Precisely. If you're on a tight 2-week itinerary, pursuing the Corn Islands will strip critical days away from Granada, Leon, and Ometepe. They are a separate trip, not an easy add-on.
Okay, and finally, we must caution against rigid planning. This relates directly to embracing that local rhythm.
Yes, Nicaragua rewards flexibility. If you try to pre-book every single shuttle and hostel stay months in advance, you limit your ability to pivot and take advantage of unexpected opportunities.
For example, you might fall deeply in love with a piece of Ometepe and realize you need to spend an extra 3 days there.
Or you might meet a group heading to a remote, perfect surf break that requires an unplanned detour. The local transport system, chicken buses and shared taxis, is extensive and affordable, but it rarely runs with Swiss precision.
Leave breathing room. Allow for Nika time to influence your itinerary.
Your experience will be so much richer if you allow the country to dictate the pace for a change.
Okay, so once you've optimized your itinerary and embraced flexibility, you start to feel the true heart of the nation. It's that authentic pulse that really sets this country apart.
It is. Beyond the activities and the low prices, every country has a defining spirit. And for Nicaragua, that spirit is overwhelmingly defined by resilience, pride, and tenacity.
This is where we need to integrate the historical context more deeply.
Yeah. Nicaragua's history, particularly the Sandinista Revolution and the subsequent periods of conflict, has ingrained this deep sense of national identity and resilience in the people.
You see this tangible history everywhere, but especially in Leon. The city is like a gallery of revolutionary murals.
It is. Depicting national heroes like Augusto Cesar Sandino, the opposition to the long-ruling Somoza regime, and the ongoing struggles for sovereignty, these aren't just old paintings.
No, they reflect a living history and a political consciousness that is still highly active.
And the locals, the Nidus, are incredibly proud. They have fought hard for their identity. This pride translates into a genuine warmth toward visitors who show respect and curiosity.
Even attempting basic Spanish phrases like hola or gracias is met with huge smiles and a genuine welcome.
That willingness to connect personally is an immediate enrichment of the travel experience.
Okay, given that complex history and the headlines the country has faced, we have to address the safety question directly. It's a major concern for any informed traveler.
It is, and it's important to separate political awareness from practical tourist safety. While you should always be mindful of the political situation and avoid any large demonstrations,
Right.
practically speaking, on the established tourist trail, Nicaragua is statistically considered one of the safer Central American countries regarding violent crime.
The key here is practicality over fear. The economic driver of tourism is highly valued, and locals actively prioritize keeping travelers safe.
Exactly. Standard common sense applies universally. Don't flash expensive cameras or jewelry, secure your belongings on crowded buses, and avoid unlit areas late at night. The usual stuff.
The actual risks you're most likely to encounter are purely environmental or logistical.
Yeah, a nasty sunburn on the black volcanic sand, getting slightly lost trying to navigate a chicken bus route, or the inevitable minor digestive issues when you're adjusting to new food.
So you need to focus your energy on managing these immediate common traveler risks rather than succumbing to generalized fear based on historical headlines.
100%.
The final component of the vibe is the pace of life embracing Nika time. This is perhaps the most philosophical lesson the country offers.
I think so. Negative time means the pace is slow. Things often operate later than expected. The bus scheduled for 9 a.m. might not leave until 9:45.
And your meal might take an hour to arrive, even if the restaurant looks empty.
And for the Western traveler obsessed with punctuality and hyper-efficiency, this can initially be frustrating.
Yeah.
But this is the transformative element. It is a forced lesson in mindfulness.
Sure.
It strips away that manufactured Western urgency.
So when you're forced to wait, whether it's for a bus or a meal, you are forced to sit, observe, and interact with your immediate environment.
You are. You end up watching the flow of local life, engaging with a neighbor, or just simply enjoying your coffee. These moments of unplanned observation often lead to the deepest cultural connections and insights.
It teaches patience.
And patience is the virtue most richly rewarded in Nicaragua.
Okay, so we've covered the logistics, the phenomenal value, the adrenaline rushes, and the quiet pulse of resilience that defines the nation. Now for the final verdict and our actionable takeaways for you, the learner.
The unequivocal verdict is a resounding yes. Nicaragua is absolutely worth the trip, but we have to reiterate, it's a yes for the right kind of traveler.
Let's define that ideal traveler based on everything we've synthesized. It's the traveler who prioritizes authentic experience, genuine cultural discovery, and raw adventure.
Over Western luxury, guaranteed efficiency, or predictable five-star polish.
It's someone who is flexible, open-minded, and willing to engage. If you seek a destination that hasn't yet been commodified for mass tourism, offering you a direct window into the Central American spirit,
Then you must go.
the value proposition, when you look at the total cost of experience versus the depth of activity, is truly unmatched on the continent.
Think about it analytically. You're getting a $3 feast for lunch, world-renowned aged rum for a fraction of the cost, full-day surf lessons for $25.
And the logistical organization required to slide down a live volcano, an experience that is priceless, all for a daily budget far lower than neighboring countries.
That is the definition of value.
So to leave you with our final actionable tips, designed for maximum efficiency and enjoyment.
First, pack light. You will be moving frequently, and navigating local transport with a massive suitcase is a guaranteed source of frustration.
Second, bring serious protection. Bug spray for the jungles and sunscreen for the coastal and volcanic sun.
Third, and this is the financial necessity, always carry small denominations of US dollars. Keep them clean and ready for transactions, especially for that mandatory $10 tourist card.
And finally, bring an open heart, patience for NECA time, and a willingness to try. This country rewards those who embrace its pace and its complexity.
It really does.
Nicaragua will challenge you, surprise you, and ultimately capture your heart with its resilience and beauty. The question for you, the learner, isn't if you should make the journey.
But rather, which of the two great volcanoes on Ometepe, the steep, rocky Conception or the muddy, cloud-forested Madeiras, you will choose to conquer first.
Go explore, embrace the chaos, and join us next time on The Deep Dive.